We presume that the key element in things getting better is time. That time is the thing that makes it all better. That time heals all wounds. We've all heard that, haven't we? See, but time is not the thing that makes it better. See, time isn't what changes things. The only thing that changes anything is consciousness. I remember the first time that I heard that saying about time, healing all wounds. It was about 40 years ago. And it was at that point in my life where I received the first raw dose of raw emotional pain. My fiance passed away when I was 20. And at that time in my life, I believed that death didn't happen to people my age. That was for old people who were 30. It didn't happen to people my age. And so it really kind of pulled the rug from underneath me. I mean, I did not know how to deal with this. And my grandmother was watching me through it all. And she could see that I was really struggling. And she sat me down one day and she told me that in time, everything would be okay. And I remember asking her, how long will this take? And even today, as I remember that experience in my life, I can still hear the desperation that was in my voice when I asked that question. Because I knew I couldn't stay in that space. How long is it going to take? And she said to me, she said, you just have to be patient. It takes time. Now, the interesting thing that I've learned since that experience is that while my grandmother's words were partially incorrect, there was a very powerful message in it, because what she told me, that things would get better, was absolutely true. What I've learned since then was that time was not the key element in them getting better. See, but just the fact that she told me that things would get better and I trusted her, things got better. I clung to that awareness that it would get better, and it did. It did. But the beautiful thing is that it wasn't time that moved me out of that experience. What moved me out of that experience was a shift in consciousness, where I began to shift out of the pain of this person no longer being in my life to the joy that we shared when they were in my life. I shifted my consciousness, because if we live in a universe of thought, and if all of it is here right now, then just like the pain is here right now, joy would have to be right here right now. So I shifted my focus from the pain of the experience to the joy. And it got better. And it got better. So the reason that I'm talking about this is that we have a tendency to treat time as if it's a power all unto itself. We give time the power that allows things in our lives to stop hurting. You'll feel better in time, right? Okay. Which means that we've got to wait. which means we're not going to feel better now. It means we've got to wait to feel better. We give time the power that tells us how long it takes us to accumulate our financial supply. Can't take this trip this year. Maybe next year or the year after that. Which means we've got to wait. We give time the power to bring forth our health. When the doctor tells us, well, you know, it may take you a year or so to come back from this. It means we've got to wait. We even give time the permission to tell us when we can love again. Once your spouse leaves or your fiance leaves or whoever it is that leaves you, you probably need to take at least a year to grieve, which means we've got to wait. See, but joy and health and prosperity and love, all of these are attributes of God, which means that they're all here now. So time really doesn't have any power other than the power that we give it, right? See, when we give anything more time, when we're saying that it's going to take time for this to happen, we talk about this in class all the time. When we say it's going to take time for this to happen, what we're actually saying is, I don't believe it's here right now. And if it's an attribute of God, it's got to be here right now. So no matter what we're moving through in our life right now, it does get better, but it's not time that makes it better. It's consciousness. It's when we shift our consciousness from the lack to the prosperity, from the pain to the healing, from the sorrow to the joy, when we just shift our attention. My sister tells the story about a time in her life where she had to scrape together bus fare in order to get to where she wanted to go. And she says she was so glad that at that time, the buses didn't have those counters that they have today. When you put your money in today, they count your money. Then they didn't. She said she was so glad because then they didn't know that what she was putting in really wasn't enough. That all those pennies really didn't add up to the fare. There was a time when I called her and I told her about going out to dinner for our anniversary, my husband and I. And the dinner cost like a little under $100, and she went berserk.